All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to break down a concept that not only won a Nobel Prize, but could literally change the way you think about investing. We're talking about the quest to find the perfect portfolio. And you're about to see exactly how it's done.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll start with the big problem every single investor faces. Then we'll actually chart out a visual solution to that problem. After that, we'll uncover the secret hiding inside that chart's curve. And finally, we'll see how this powerful theory goes from a complex formula to a simple app you can use.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the fundamental challenge. This problem of having so many choices that it can feel completely and utterly overwhelming.
I mean, think about it. There are thousands of stocks out there. So out of all of them, how on earth do you build the single best possible investment portfolio? Where do you even begin? It's not an exaggeration to say there are millions of possible combinations, and every one of those combinations has its own unique risk and its own unique potential for return. The sheer number of options is just staggering.
So how in the world do we navigate this? Well, instead of getting lost in a sea of numbers, let's actually create a map. Let's find a way to see through all the confusion.
Okay, so picture this. Imagine we could take every single one of those millions of portfolios and plot it on a chart, right? On the bottom axis, you've got risk, and in the side, you've got return. Each possible portfolio becomes just one tiny dot. What you'd end up with is this giant cloud of points. Some are way up here, high risk, high return. Others are down low, low risk, low return, and you've got everything in between.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Out of that messy cloud of dots, a very clear pattern starts to emerge. If you just trace the upper left edge of that cloud, you get this beautiful curve. And that is what we call the efficient frontier. It's basically the complete set of all the best, most optimal portfolios that exist.
And here's the most crucial point. If your portfolio is a dot that falls below this line, it's inefficient, it's suboptimal. That means you're either taking on more risk than you need to for the return you're getting, or you're not getting enough return for the level of risk you're taking. You can always, and I mean always, do better by picking a portfolio that's right on that line. But wait a minute. Why is it a curve, right? Why not just a straight line? Well, this is where it gets really, really cool. The answer is the secret sauce of modern investing, and it's where the real magic happens. It's all about diversification. This slide shows us exactly why. See, if all your investments moved in perfect sync, when one goes up, the other goes up by the same amount, then yeah, the line would be straight. But that's not how the real world works, is it? Stocks don't move perfectly together. And because they're imperfectly correlated, when you combine them, the risk-return line actually bows outward. That curve is the so-called free lunch of diversification. It represents a whole set of portfolios that give you a better return for the same amount of risk. So this isn't just some pretty picture. That curve is the visual, mathematical proof that smart diversification actually works. It lowers your entire portfolio's risk in a way that just isn't obvious when you're only looking at the individual pieces. Now, I'm not going to lie, the math to actually calculate this curve is, well, it's seriously complex. We're talking about things like covariance matrices and optimization solvers. But here's the really good news. You absolutely do not need a PhD in mathematics to put this incredible idea to work for you. The man behind it all, Nobel laureate Harry Markowitz, laid it out perfectly. The frontier is simply the line that maps out the best possible portfolios. This academic rigor is the powerful foundation that we can all build on. So, how do we bridge that gap from complicated theory to practical use? Well, even though the underlying math is intense for us, it's exactly the kind of process that computers are amazing at solving. And thanks to modern technology, the entire job of finding the optimal portfolio on that frontier can be completely automated. In fact, this Nobel Prize-winning theory is basically the engine running under the hood of many modern investment tools. Apps like Stocks to Buy use this exact model. You just input your risk appetite, from conservative to aggressive, and the technology does all the heavy lifting, building a portfolio for you that sits right on that efficient frontier. The complex theory becomes a simple, practical tool right in your pocket. So we've mapped out the entire universe of optimal portfolios. The technology can place you anywhere you want on that curve. The final and honestly the most important question isn't about math anymore. It's about you. Where on that frontier do you belong? How will you define your personal level of risk?